Babagana Boso is my name, an academic staff with the Department of Geography, Yobe State University, as well as an environmentalist on part-time basis with the Nguru-Hadejia Commodity Yobe Basin Trust Fund for quite some time. And I also engage in water and water-related issues, especially things that has to do with basins, because that is my area of specialization. So I've been a lot of work in relation to that. But in a wider perspective, I'm an environmentalist. I'm also the chairman of the Nigerian Environmental Society of Yobe chapter. Tomorrow being 2nd February of every year, World Wetland Day was set aside to now look at how particular wetlands are being conserved and used sustainably. In relation to Yobe State or Nigeria, we have one of the largest wetlands, which is the Hadejia Nguru wetlands. And wetlands means a body of water in a terrestrial or semi-terrestrial ecosystem. That is what wetlands is all about. If you wanted to know what is wetlands, then it is characterized by low drainages, low plants and animals. And this site serves as a habitat for man and animal. It also serves as a source of income and source of economic activity to the basin community, as well as offering other ecosystem services. In 2000, February, Hadejia Nguru wetland was designated as a Ramsar site. When we say Ramsar site, Ramsar is a name of a city in Iran where the first convention for wetlands was inaugurated. That was in 1971. So it has at this very convention that the Ramsar site is being classified. When we say Ramsar site, it is a conservation area purely that has recognition for biodiversity and for economic uses. So Ramsar was declared as a site making reference to the first place, that is a city in Iraq where the convention took place. That is how Hadejia Nguru wetlands became a Ramsar site in February 2000. That is about 21 years ago. And it is of international importance because it is a source of ecologically and economically viable source of livelihoods. This is the key things. It is a house for a lot of biodiversity that was dead, because in the last 10-20 years, the entire wetland has been threatened in the sense that the actual viability is now shrinking, largely due to the rainfall variability. That means there's a fluctuating rainfall, but unlike what is observable in the past. Then there is issue of dam development in the upstream. For instance, the river subsystem, which is Hadejia River, which formed the Hadejia Nguru wetlands, there was a damming at the upstream. There are two major dams which affected the hydrology and biodiversity of the entire Yobe basin in general, and then the Hadejia Nguru wetlands in particular. Those dams have altered the hydrology. Before the construction of the dam, a lot of water is flowing into the Hadejia Nguru wetlands. But with the damming, the water has been reduced. Then that also results in shrinking the wetland. Thereby, people who are benefiting from the wetlands are losing their source of livelihoods. Then those biodiversity and other aquatic organisms that are based in the Hadejia Nguru have started migrating, and others have become so extinct. That means they disappeared because of the change in the hydrological pattern of the Hadejia Nguru wetlands. Any other question? Globally, the conservation of wetlands came into effect, as I was saying, on February 1971, when about 7 countries then now signed a treaty for the conservation and sustainable use of the wetlands in Ramsar, that is the city in Iran where the first convention took place. Over time, a lot of countries have now shown interest, and then they key in to the convention and sign a treaty that they are going to conserve their designated or their identified wetlands. As at 2019 October, we have 171 contracting parties who have signed a treaty that they are going to conserve the various or different wetlands that were spread across the world. So we have 171 countries that have now signed the pact that they are going to conserve their different wetlands. And then all over the world we have over 2,000 designated wetlands spread across the world with over 200 million hectares. That is the area where it is classified as wetlands all over the world. Then out of this, I think United Kingdom or British is having the highest designated wetlands. It has 171 different wetlands spread across the United Kingdom. So that is the largest all over the world. So that's the little I can say about wetlands. And the idea, as I was saying, of celebrating the World Wetland Day is to make sure that people are committed to conserving those resources or those areas where people drive their livelihood, as well as a habitat to a lot of biodiversity. Yeah, but honestly, in our own case, because of the dams, construction of the dams upstream, the population growth, when population is growing, especially geometrically, the pressure on the available resources in the wetland is being threatened. Threatened in the sense that ideally a resource that is meant for 1,000 people will be used by 2,000 people. That means that competition to consume the resources, and that will also alter and affect livelihoods of the basin community and as well as the entire wetlands. Prior to the construction of the dam, the wetland is supporting about 2.1 million people. The Nguru wetland alone. That includes the Marba Channel, the Nguru Lake, and what have you. But because of the damming upstream, population increase and rainfall variability, it can hardly support 500,000 people now, because the entire wetland has been overtaken by taifa grass. People, a lot of people or local communities that drive their livelihood through fishing, through grazing and agriculture has to move elsewhere, because most of the area has been overtaken by taifa grass. And taifa grass are usually proliferating because of the presence of unregulated flow into the wetlands. As I was saying, the wetland has two major rivers, that is the Nguru Lake and then the Marma Channel. These are where the water from the Hadejia River system are coming to support livelihood. But with the population increase, honestly, the entire wetland is being threatened. Yeah, I think there was a time, was it in 2009 or 10, we went there for an assessment visit, where about 58% of the entire wetland has been overtaken by taifa grass. And taifa grass is a very notorious grass that can you can't easily work it out, because it has a very entangled root that if you have a wet area within 200 to 300 meters, it will now draw the moisture to now support its life. So it is very, very difficult to address the menace of taifa grass, which is abound or which is very, very common in the Hadejia Nguru wetland, because it has disrupted a lot of fishermen from carrying out their fishing activities. And then most of the area that were initially a grazing area for herders has been also overtaken by the taifa grass, so also some farmlands. So with the intervention of some regional and global NGOs like Joy Wetlands Livelihood, Hadejia Nguru Conservation Project, Hadejia Jamare Kumodubiobe Basin Trust Fund, and then International Union for Conservation of Nature. All these are international and regional NGOs that have made a concerted effort to see that they have addressed this problem. But because of the institutional problem and then duration, it is not something that they can continue, because after the expiration of their program, they go away. And we don't have any institution on ground to continue to take off from where they stop. So that is why we have a lot of challenges which is very difficult for now to be addressed. I could remember Hadejia Nguru Wetlands has winded up about 3-4 years ago. IUCN left after the exploration of their tenure. What we have, which we hope it can address the problem, is the Hadejia Basin, a regional NGO with headquarters here in Damaturu. They have a document called the Catchment Management Area. Their duty is to address all the water challenges in the Komodo-Yobe Basin. So those who have developed the document feel that at least 17 billion is required to address all the major challenges or problems that is bedeviling the Komodo-Yobe Basin in general and the Hadejia Nguru Wetlands in particular. But in 2006, when a summit of governors met in Damaturu under the leadership of Governor Bukar Abu Ibrahim, am I to stop? Under the leadership of, or under the chairmanship of former Governor Bukar Abu Ibrahim, the 6 governors of the riparian state have contributed the sum of 1.7 billion. This is a seed money, which is 10% of what is required to address the water management challenges of the Komodo-Yobe Basin in general and Hadejia Nguru Wetlands in particular. Since then, I think the commitment from the other riparian states is very, very minimal. If not, if you look at what the Hadejia Komodo-Yobe Basin Trust Fund did within the span of 2006 to 2015, it has made a lot of positive impact. Because of their intervention, for the first time in 15 years, water from the Komodo-Yobe Basin reached Lake Chad. But before the advent of this regional NGO, water has not reached Lake Chad from the Hadejia River subsystem and the Jamare River subsystem, which form the Komodo-Yobe Basin. For 15 years, water is not reaching Lake Chad. But because of the intervention done by the HJKYBTF, water has reached that. But because there is no consistency, there is no continuity of funding, this program and project has to stop. If you look at the secretariat, most of the technical staff were relieved because of lack of funds. And I could remember, was it last 2 years or so, there's another summit which took place in Plateau State under the leadership of the present governor, Simon Lalo. But most of the governors just made an appeal. It was only governor of Yobe State, the former governor Alhaji Ibrahim Bedem, that has made or redeem its commitment by 50%, which is a very meager amount that will not be more than running the secretariat. In this kind of intervention, we need a lot of money, a lot of financial resources to address this. And then there should be either an institution, either NGO or government-owned, that will now sustain the addressing of these challenges over time. But once you have an institution which has a time frame, once this institution has went off, then the problem will now resurface, and that is what we've been facing in the Hadejia Nguru Wetlands as well as the Komodo-Yobe Basin in general. People in the Komodo-Yobe Basin or the Hadejia Nguru Wetland in particular are losing their livelihoods. That means the conservation has not achieved its end. That is it.